right now what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the 8th Amendment. And I know you don't like me doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway for a lot of people. This is very important. You know why this is important to me? Because I never knew this was there. The preamble of the Constitution, we, the people, you know, the very beginning of the Constitution's got the preamble. Well, the Bill of Rights has a preamble, and here's how it goes. Congress of the United States begun and held in the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire, in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the group of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. I had that word phonetically broken down as I say it right. Then we've got the 8th Amendment. You want me to read it, or do you want to read it?
Go ahead.
All right, here's the 8th Amendment. The 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution prohibits the federal, state, and local governments of the United States, or any other government, or any corporation, private enterprise, group, or individual, from imposing excessive bail, excessive fines, or cruel and unusual punishments in any part of the U.S. on U.S. property, U.S. Embassy is an example, or against any U.S. citizen or any resident of the U.S. So
well, it's relatively short. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Okay, as far as the...
You're streamlining, man. You're streamlining.
And so, as far as the 8th Amendment is concerned, we're looking at excessive bail and cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, and so there's no constitutional right to bail. You see these guys all the time. We see all these cases all the time. We're always talking about them on here. It'd be some kid in Bell County or Williamson County that had possession of marijuana, and he's got $1 million bond.
Well, what about the guy? Who's that lady who gave him $5 million bond or something? And she got kicked out of her office?
For what?
Excessive bond? I can't think of her name. Just happened recently.
Oh, it was a judge?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one. I didn't hear about the one getting kicked out of her office for filing an excessive bond, but, you know, it is an abuse of your official discretion and position and power and authority to look down on. And look, man, I could go off and be specific about this, but I want to keep my job. And, I mean, technically I'm self-employed, but I want to keep working in some of these communities. And so, yes, some of these judges, when it comes to bail and bonds, and I feel like they definitely abuse their authority. Sometimes a lot of people would argue that it's warranted, and the community can sit there and debate. Me, regardless, when they violate the constitutional provisions, even if it was debatable to try to keep the person in jail, when they violate the constitutional provisions, even though I know these judges are really good people and are honest folks and are trying to do the best they can, it just makes me sick to my stomach.
I would think the higher bonds would go to something that is potentially...
We're not talking about murder cases.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like would potentially go towards something that could be harmful to themselves, others, family, friends. But when it comes to, hey, the person's not to themselves, but when a person's smoking dope or doing something of themselves in a little bubble where it's not really going to hurt too many people, but they broke the law, I can understand the bail being lower. But on other
but sometimes there's victims on the other side that have political weight, and they'll happen to show up at the bond or bail hearing and sort of try to influence, right, how the judge and prosecutor react to what would normally be a pretty standard procedure.
So what you're saying, Ross, is that the law isn't just black and white. The law is emotional. It has emotions.
Oh,
politics.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has politics and emotion in it. But if it didn't, then we probably wouldn't have a spot for lawyers. And so, but when the sort of scenario plays out that I just mentioned, it almost doesn't even matter if you have a lawyer on your side that's good. You just, and I don't understand, because the lawyer's gonna, if the lawyer knows what he's doing, he's gonna appeal it. He's gonna try to attack it some way, and it's just gonna cost the system more money and time and effort and uneconomical and all kinds of stuff. But as far as anything else is concerned, you can't be using bail as an instrument of oppression either. And so even when I say they go outside the standard practice a lot of times because of maybe political pressures. And again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying it kind of makes me sick to my stomach when I see them just absolutely blatantly violate the constitutional provisions. But I do understand that there's political pressure. I do understand how difficult it can be to try to just do the standard status quo kind of procedure when there's a victim that's supposedly looking you right there in your face that help get you on the bench where you are today. That would be hard to do. And so, I mean, I do understand that the difficulties do happen, but I think sometimes the instrument of oppression language goes hand in hand, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a standard procedure that itself imposes an instrument of oppression, so to speak, systematically. And that's what's been huge about bail reform and across the United States and Texas. Now, the folks on bail reform camp are going to tell you that it's almost always inappropriate, and that they're going to tell you in more cases than not, that it's inappropriate than when it is appropriate. And so we've spoke about the statistics and about the problems that they've been having when you let out people that are on a smaller scale. When you let these folks out on a PR bond and there's no bond in place, and then they don't show up, and so you issue a warrant for their arrest, and then you arrest them, and it's still a misdemeanor, so you gotta let them out on a PR bond, and then they don't show up for that, and then you arrest them again, and then they don't show up for that because there's never a bond. They always let them out on a PR bond. Do you see the dangerous cycle?
Course, yes.
Okay. And so when that happens,
is that for us? We got a call. You ready? Welcome to the Aaron's High Cap Adventure Radio program. I'm Matt. Who are you?
Matt, this is Kevin Rowland. I live here in Rockdale.
Kevin, how you doing?
Doing great. My wife and I took your course a couple of years ago, and we've both got our license. But I have a question concerning legal 30-06 signage.
Yes, sir.
We like to go camping, and we go to Granger. I go to Bastrop and Fayette a lot. And driving into these parks, one's a Corps of Engineers and the other two are LCRA, I'd like to know, is the little pistol with the circle and the slash through it considered legal signage? Because I don't like to go anywhere unprotected, and I'll hang up and let you talk about that.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah, hold on a second, buddy. Hold on.
So no, that's not illegal signage for a 30-06.
Yeah, well, first of all, I got two things on this. First of all, the state says if you want to get a license, you have to jump through certain hoops to get it. And if you remember, I say this in the class. And then
yeah.
But it also allows for people who don't like that to keep you off. And to keep you off, they must jump through hoops. One of those hoops is proper signage. The signage must read a certain way for it to be a legal sign. So to answer your question in short on the signage thing, but I want to get back to you on something else. A circle with a slash and a pistol and it says no guns does nothing. It affects you in no way, shape, or form as a license to carry holder because it is not written properly. The only signs you can... Go ahead.
That was my sentiment exactly. That's what I thought, but I wanted to hear it from someone else.
Did somebody say something to you, or?
No, I've gotten into several conversations about it, and my opinion during the conversations was this was not considered legal signage and would not prohibit me from privately carrying in my vehicle or on my person if I chose, but normally I keep my pistol in my vehicle or my camper when I'm camping, and it's.
Well, let's go.
And I still will.
Let's go a step further here, because it's an open carry state. We've got both signs, 30-06 and 30-07. 30-07 is the sign that says you can't open carry. Now, if you're carrying concealed and somebody knows you have a concealed weapon, well, then that's your fault. But it's not a problem. It's just that if you're trying to keep it concealed and they know you got it, okay. That's a bad on you. Here's the deal, though. If you're open carrying and they have that no gun sign with the slash mark on it. And they said, hey, didn't you see that sign? They said, well, it doesn't fit the standards of the state. Well, now they're talking to you verbally. And if they say, well, I want you off the property with that gun, then you got to comply. Otherwise, it's trespassing because you're getting it from somebody in position of authority who's acting for the owner.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're going to carry, definitely carry concealed. Now, my other point was this, and I don't know if you can help me on this one, Ross. The Corps of Engineers, Fed-run facility.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking about that since he said that.
I have not been able to give a straight answer. I know what I wouldn't do, and that is not take it there because I don't want any hassle with Fed property. So Corps of Engineer property as compared to a state property, state park, it's different. State parks you're allowed to go in as long as there's no signage put up there. You want to add to that?
How about you email me at benton@watson.legal and let's talk about this one a little bit better. I would
all right.
I'm going to try to get you a straight answer.
We're talking about Corps of Engineer questions. So.
Yeah. That's the one That's the one I've been sitting here thinking since you called. That's the good question.
And the last thing too, just so you're familiar with, you probably are, but just go look up a 30-06 sign and read it. You're going to see the verbiage. And I want to make another comment. There's some properties that are posting a shortcut version of that sign saying this building falls under subchapter H government code 411 blah blah blah, but it does not say the verbiage that the sign has to say. So technically, if it does not read like a 30-06 sign or a 30-07 sign and you're a licensed to carry holder, it means nothing.
Hey, email me benton@watson.legal and I'll email you back with some good info.
All right, I'll try to do that.
Hey,
but I appreciate you guys and enjoy the show.
Fantastic.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for the call. That was good. That Corps of Engineer thing is always tricky.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because they got all these backdoor channels to screw you if you do something wrong. And I don't want to put myself in that position. Okay. Feel free, everybody, to give us a call.
A good question.
It's an open call Saturday, I guess. If you got
question.
another question like that or something else, give us a call. 254-697-6633. You want to go over the 8th and tell me about cruel and unusual punishment? I know we've talked about it in other things, but what would be a current type of cruel punishment?
Okay, so that applies to many different things. It's the manner and means in which they're going to use some sort of punishment. It could be the proportionality of the punishment, rather the disproportionality of the punishment. It can be certain age requirements, like the Supreme Court said that you can't inflict the death penalty on kids younger than 18 years of age. There were certain things. I think the biggest issue right now was the Timms case, which said that you could not seize somebody's property. What happened is Mr. Timms, I think, probably was a drug possession case, but ended up getting convicted. And then after that happened, the state came in and seized his Land Rover that he bought with his dad's insurance policy. So it wasn't purchased with ill-gotten gains. It wasn't purchased with illegal tax money. It wasn't purchased with money from selling dope. It was just his essentially what would be a gift from his parents to him, and probably since it was his dad's life insurance. I haven't read the full case, but his dad's life insurance, so I'm sure that his father had passed away, and that's how he had gotten it. And so, with that being said, the court thought that that was grossly disproportional, meaning that there was really no reason to take his Land Rover simply because, right, he had been convicted of a drug offense that would not have given rise to a fine of even that much. We got another one? Okay. And so, does that make sense that the fine would have been only $10,000? And the Land Rover was new, it was probably $40,000, so it's 4 times as much as the maximum possible fine that they could give him in the case. And it wasn't even purchased with anything that was involved in his crime, and so it was really disproportional to the crime that he had committed. I figured you had a comment on this, so I could pause for a second.
No, I'm listening very intently, and I totally agree with you. When you were saying that, the reason I didn't say anything was because in my mind, as you were talking, I was thinking about the times where the court won't convict somebody because of a slight technicality, but here this guy is getting his vehicle taken away when it's clear cut separate. His dad's policy gifted him, and I'm thinking, how when you go to a court of law, you never know what's going to happen. You got this rule book and these laws, and even though it says this, somehow they can twist it and flip it around. And then in this case, you got it where, oh well, we did it over here, but we're not going to do it over here. We did it over there, but we're not going to do it over there. There's no, you can't go into the court and say, this is what I can expect to come out of this courtroom, because it's not going to happen. You
got those in the camp that are going to tell you that, you know, this is deserved. This is the only way that we get these guys off the streets. If we can't let these guys continue making money, right, then they're going to just stay in business and continue to operate. And we've got to just attack all assets that they've got. Well, man, that's great. You got an Al Capone guy, and you can prove that.
Why do you spend the time?
Then you do it.
Why does the system spend the time getting the guy in the corner?
But that's just not yet.
That's a symptom. Why can't they take all this energy and go and say, where do you get this stuff? It's coming across the board.
Well, because that's hard, man. That's hard to do.
No, I think they want people in the system because the system makes money.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't. It's hard and it costs money to go after important people. Okay, and so a lot of times it's the ones. That's what I'm saying. It's great. You got Al Capone. You want to go after him and seize all of his assets. You do it. I'm not. You're not going to get any objections from me, okay? Maybe if I'm representing him. Other than that, you're not getting any objections from me. But what really irks me, and I think a lot of other people, is the fact that they don't usually go after Al Capone. What you're saying, it's usually the guy,
the easy guy.
It's a family that doesn't have a lot, and the state goes after the one asset that they do have, and then they've got no legacy for their family going forward, and you just continue. Right, the only legacy that they have, and that's right, years after years of welfare, and that's just the government sustenance is just perpetually sustaining this family over and over and over again because you can never get the family out of the system. And if you think that I'm just talking gibberish, right? Well, then you come when they do pleas here in CPS court and all this stuff, and I promise you're gonna see the same families, generation after generation, and I don't even have to tell you that. I mean, that's what was good about me coming back to my hometown. Is people that I saw getting in trouble as a child, now I'm seeing their kids or grandkids still in trouble. And I'm just not all the states. I'm not throwing shots at one particular facility, but I'm just saying that there are systematic problems that it causes a perpetual legacy of government sustenance. That's the best way I can put it.
I understood all that. I really did. I'm looking at you. I understood it all, and I get it, and I agree. Okay, back to this.
And so, then too, you got the what is it? The thumbnails, the gibbets, and the racks and pull that are obviously cruel and unusual punishment. We don't put people in the hanging cages anymore. I think that's the gibbet. and Matt's a political enemy of the left wing camp, and so when they get into election, they're going to try to find you guilty of a crime, and then they're going to let everybody know that if you side with Matt Betros, right, this is what's going to happen to you, and they're going to put you in the gibbet for the crows. and hang you up. And actually, there's streets in England that are named after not what they originally, the person who donated or the person who built the road, or the person who lived down the road, but they're named after the person that was hanging in the gibbet. Because you don't want to go down that road.
Got to honor him somehow.
Yeah, and so we can't do those types of things anymore either. Something that is harmful to human dignity, okay, is going to be cruel and unusual punishment. It's going to be, and you can see though how a lot of these cruel and unusual punishment areas can be gray. I mean, you can see as and I haven't got an answer to those cases that I spoke about that were coming up. And I think one of them resolved itself, but I didn't have time to go. We've been so busy with all of the stuff going on in the city recently that I haven't been able to do as much updating myself on some of my cool little niches in the criminal law aspect world. But and we can see how there's going to be gray areas in what we talked about as being, oh, the guy wanted a different kind of, if he had been given that injection, it would have caused some kind of boils all over his body, he would have went into shock. So he asked to be basically taken out back and shot. Remember we were talking about that?
Yes, I did.
And then there was another guy that while he had been sitting in prison waiting on the death penalty, that he had developed Alzheimer's and dementia to such a degree that he no longer even knew who he was. And so is it okay to impose a death penalty on somebody like that?
Are you asking me, or is this like just one of those questions you just listen to and wait for the next thing to be said?
No, I figured you had a comment, so I paused.
On that particular one, you know, we're a compassionate country. We're compassionate people. And I have major compassion for the people who that person did harm to. You know, if somebody murders, rapes, does any type of abuse to a member of a family, I'm going to side with that family. So I have a lot of compassion for that. But I understand the concept. The guy with the Alzheimer's, how do you say that word? Who's not there anymore, okay? It's just a biological unit with no personality anymore. So I don't know what kind of compassion do you give on that type of guy, or do you stick with the justice to say that family gets their settlement of the problem? You got a call in? Okay. All right, everybody. This is Aaron's High Cap Adventure Radio program. It's April 13th, and you're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Hey, Matt. This morning, this is Butch.
Hey, Butch. What's going on, buddy?
Say, I had a man that asked me a question the other day, and I didn't know how to answer him, but he was talking about somebody like breaking his door down on his house, and he said, you know, by the law you have to wait for them to get inside. Is that true?
Well, if they're in the process of breaking it down, the act is happening, so you can stop that threat. But I've got the expert here.
And so if it's at nighttime, they're already going to be trespassing at nighttime. And so which would authorize the use of force. It would probably also authorize the use of force for protection of property. I think that trespassing in the nighttime, I think if you feel like somebody's breaking in your door, we've talked about this. This is what Matt's always saying. If you shoot and they're dead on the other side of the door and they never make it in, are you in trouble? My opinion is that doesn't change the calculus. They're trying to break in. Let's
be clear on the trying to break in part. Somebody on the front porch who's scaring you and hasn't really touched the doorknob yet is coming up and shouting and all this kind of stuff and maybe making threatening acts, but hasn't really tried to break in yet. I would still wait because you still have the power on your side. You know what's going on. You've got your weapon. You're still in your secure home. The line between outside and inside hasn't been broken. So I would say, no, you don't shoot. But as soon as they start trying to enter forcefully, I'm thinking, okay, you know.
No, that's what I mean. When I say trying to, I mean taking some kind of physical act to enter.
Physical act, okay.
But I don't think you telling me that I've got to wait for them to put themselves in an advantageous position to hurt me? No. I mean, I think I can protect myself as soon as I see that force is being used to get to me.
Well, let me tell you my thought process of what you just said. Because I feel confident in how to handle myself, I know the longer I wait to put things in my court, the easier I'll be when it goes to court.
But that's why it's good to have me and you on here, because I'm not confident in my ability. And I think, and knowing me, I'm going to have to shoot 4 or 5 times before I hit what I'm aiming at. Right? And I'm not going to give the dude more opportunity than they need. I'm telling you, if they're trying to break through my door physically and that force is being used to break through my door.
Yeah, but you just said it now, when they're trying to break in the door.
Well, that's
but I thought you're saying he's on the porch just making comments. And
No, I just told you when he's making that physical act.
Okay, well, I concur.
Yeah, when he's making that, but I'm not gonna wait for him to actually get inside.
Well,
you can. You're not gonna miss. I'm telling you.
I would rather hit him than shoot my door. That door is expensive.
Well, if
I tell you what, if he's trying to break in, and I think he's going to break it, I may unlock it. What would happen if that happened? And in court, I go, hey, I don't want to damage my property.
It's still a breaking.
Okay.
He wasn't authorized to enter.
Do you know what a mahogany wood door with a crosswind? That's an expensive door, dude. I don't want to put bullets in it.
I'll get you some.
What do you think about those answers? How do you like those? Did that help you out?
Well, I might be able to give him a better answer.
Okay.
I don't think you got to wait till they get in, but you at least need to wait till they're using physical force to break down the door. How about that?
Well, he was asking me if they was trying to knock the door down and get in, and at least I could probably give him a better answer.
Well, just make sure you tell him, look, I'm not an attorney. I can't give you advice. This is just my personal opinion. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Butch. Take care. That was a good call. We're getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that on this show today. That's good.
And you always sit from the standpoint in your high perch box of an expert.
No, stop it.
Okay, and you act like, and I try to be realistic. I try to feel like, realistically, if somebody's trying to get in your house, you're not even going to be thinking about, oh, what happens if I get charged over here?
BS. That's the thing that scares me the most.
Man, because
it scares me
what you're doing, man.
I know what I'm doing. It scares me the most because everything that I do in the house, I have control over. I know what's going to happen. When I go to that courtroom, I got guys like you who spin stuff, make things. So if you're not defending me, you're prosecuting against me, and that scares me.
That's what I'm saying. What do we got?
All right, we got another call. This is Aaron's High Cabinet Metro Radio program. I'm Matt. Who are you?
This is Moses.
Moses, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, everything's coming along good. Trying to stay dry.
good luck with that. Okay, what can I do for you today? What's going on? What kind of question you got?
Well, you need to tell our buddy there that doesn't shoot very well, and if he get him a good shotgun, he won't have to shoot but one. Take care, Matt.
All right, buddy. Take care. Well, there you go, man. You're getting feedback. You have a problem? The audience has a solution.
A solution, that's right. That's right.
And I'll tell you what, I get one of those nice short firearms that look like a shotgun, but it's not a shotgun.
Oh, because it's a firearm. That's right. Okay. We gotta just don't carry those in your car because you're gonna have to convince the police officer on site to.
That ain't stopping me because I'm in the right. I know I'm right. That thing's a handy little tool. Okay, look, time's ticking. Wow, it just got away from us. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
And this was fun. I appreciate you guys calling in, and it's always good to be here. Rick Dodd, thank you for sponsoring the show. We love it. Respectforyou.com. If you have any questions or your, liberty is invaded by some kind of company or other individual or government, just holler at me at 254-605-4140, 254-605-4140. Or holler at Rick Dodd. If you don't know his number, you can come and email me, and I'll get you in touch with him. You can email me at benton@watson.legal. That's benton@watson.legal. Or come see us at 105 East Main Street in Cameron. Again, at the Big Milk Cow on the side. You can't miss it. Man, it's good to be here.
Now, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You support all the sponsors. Like, look, if you're having a stressful day, go see George at Liquor Depot, okay? He'll square you away with something good to calm your nerves. You run a stoplight or you're getting in trouble legally, you call Rick or Ross. If you got water in your gas, go see Kyle there at Cameron Small Engine Repair, so on and so forth, etc., etc. Support the people, support the show. Okay.